A counterfeit coin threatens the treasury of a state. A counterfeit ally, however, threatens its very existence from within. By the 4th century BCE, the Mauryan Empire stretched across the Indus and Ganges plains. Absolute control over a territory this vast bred constant suspicion. Ancient political thinkers recognized a concept known as Matsya, the law of the fishes. Without a strong, ruthless ordering authority, large fish consume the small, and society devolves into anarchy. Chanakya, the chief architect of the Mauryan state, understood that an empire built to prevent this anarchy could not run on blind trust. Loyalty had to be treated as a quantifiable asset, one that could be isolated, measured, and rigorously tested. Look closely at the physical weight of ancient commerce in this punch-marked coin. In his political treatise, the Arthashastra, Chanakya outlines strict methods for assaying precious metals to protect the state from economic collapse. An examiner begins by rubbing the metal against a touchstone to study its streak color. Next, they cut deep into the piece to expose hidden pockets of lead or copper. If the metal passes, the violence escalates. It is thrown into a raging fire to burn away dross, and finally, it is beaten flat with a hammer to test its structural integrity. Chanakya documented this physical violence as economic policy. He then adapted it as a psychological blueprint to forge the human machinery of his government. The transition from material science to human psychology survives in the Chanakya Niti, a collection of his observations on morality and human nature. One specific verse translates the assaying process directly onto the human mind. Like gold is tested by rubbing, cutting, heating, and beating, so also a man is tested. The rubbing on the touchstone becomes the examination of a person's everyday moral conduct, or shilan. The cutting of the metal maps to an investigation of their gunin, their innate, hidden qualities that emerge when their defenses are down. The intense heat of the fire corresponds to karmana, observing how a person acts under extreme pressure and stress. The final strike of the hammer represents tyagan. The ultimate test of character is a person's willingness to make a profound sacrifice. Verbal promises evaporate under threat. True psychological alloy reveals itself only when an individual is pushed beyond their breaking point. This philosophical observation became active state policy. The Arthashastra mandates a codified system of radical psychological testing for anyone approaching the inner circle of power. Spies disguised as ascetics, merchants, and prostitutes were deployed by the king to artificially manufacture extreme stress tests for his own officials. These agents subjected targets to the 4 allurements. They offered them opportunities to abandon their posts for religious fervor, massive financial payouts, sexual temptation, or outright physical fear. A minister earned their position only after they actively resisted all 4 manufactured temptations. Their loyalty had to prove structurally sound enough to bear the weight of the state. We see this system applied in the ancient political play The Mudra Rakshasa. A spy reads a tense report to Chanakya regarding a wealthy jewel merchant named Chandanadasa. Chanakya is hunting the family of a formidable political rival, Rakshasa. The report reveals that Chandanadasa is secretly hiding this family in his own home. Rather than raid the house, Chanakya brings the merchant in for questioning. He applies the human equivalent of the heat and the hammer. Chanakya presents him with an absolute binary: surrender the family or face total financial ruin and immediate execution. Chandanadasa accepts death. He refuses to surrender the family, choosing to be executed rather than betray his friend. From a law enforcement perspective, the interrogation failed. But within Chanakya's framework, Chandanadasa's refusal provided the exact proof of tyagan, sacrifice, the state was desperately searching for. Chanakya does not order the execution. Instead, he reacts with profound awe at the merchant's purity. The text notes his realization. A man willing to sacrifice his own life to protect a falling master is the rarest asset an empire can acquire. By pushing Chandanadasa to the absolute brink of death, Chanakya separated the pure gold from the dross. The Mauryan Empire deterred invasions and maintained civil order for decades because its foundation rested entirely on individuals who had survived this crucible. Yet even proven gold requires a vault. To protect its hard-won trust, the state's watchers never stopped looking from the shadows.